Hello and welcome to another Shadowverse video, and so today we're taking a look at a HavenCraft deck. This is mostly a Natura Stormhaven deck. While not the best kind of deck you could run on the current letter, it was just something that I can kind of whip up and give a go of, as it was fairly simple to make, and it focuses primarily, of course, on the mid to late game areas, focusing on getting out Hollowed Feathers for damage, clearing boards pretty easily with the other cards here in the middle for the 4 to 6 range. Is really good to clear options and also some decent damage. Shiva, because throwing a 1 Shiva in seems to be a pretty standard thing these days, as it's quite a valuable card. Running Featherfolk Punisher, Saintly Squeaks and all that for extra value, that's really the big key. And running Feathered Sanctuary because the Regal Falcon is really easy to get out early on, which is a great card. So we are going to get right into this and check it out. Alright, so kicking us off, our first couple of games here is going to be really early concedes, where we kind of get a good snowball against Rune and other decks. It does quite well in those really early stages, so it can lead to those early snowball-y kind of plays. But we will have at least one really good game, which I'm saving for the last one for this video, so make sure to stay tuned for that one, because that one's a probably more full-on in-depth look at the deck play style. So we tried to mulligan for something good early. Fortunately, didn't really get a lot. Our 2-drop play is probably our best one, so we're pretty much just on the pass at this point, which does put us a bit behind Rune. Typically, you don't normally want to complete pass, but at the same time, early passes aren't necessarily the be-all end-all to this deck. So getting our 2-2 on the board without any kind of threat was really good. We got the Featherfolk Punisher out, again, more damage potential. Really all I could do against Rune here was try and flood the board early on. Get as much damage in while I can. And Feathered Sorcery, or Sanctuary, sorry, is a good way to get that in. I mean, we get 7 damage this turn, that's pretty substantial. Actually, we can go for 8 if we had went for the Natura Great Tree as well, which we probably should have, to be honest. And Knowledge Seek is not really a problem. Ritual, again, not really a problem. And now we've got a pretty easy game from here. As you can see, they obviously realise and concede, but we could have went for Dandiful if we wanted to and done all those shenanigans too. So again, another quick gun. This is pretty early, but Rune seems to be the class that we can do really well against in those early stages. It's really easy just to swing the game in our advantage, and that's always a good thing. This time though, we get at least Hollow Feather, which is a pretty decent early play here, which is why this hand is actually pretty good. We can go for Desert Pathfinder into Feather Sanctuary pretty easily, and then set up for our Hollow Feather in the future. Especially with this hand. Siren is really good, although a little awkward to play sometimes. I don't mind her, but I think I would need to mess around some more with her to really get a feel for how I'd want to play her out more often. Go to early Desert Pathfinder, again, doing a similar thing to our last Rune game, but this time actually having it get traded. Luckily not to too much detriment, as Feathered Sanctuary can come down pretty easily, and that will guarantee the heal as well. So we just need to get over this ward, and that's really the thing we need to do here. Thankfully, we did get Featherfolk Punisher as well, so we have at least got some advantage going to the next couple of turns. And we've also got the Saren, so we could use that as well, and setting up this Featherfolk with double Great Tree is going to be really good. But it was obviously enough for them to just concede, which was quite good. They must have bricked fairly hard. So while those two definitely weren't the best of games that I possibly could have had, we do end up going up against Portal next. So Portal should be a bit more interesting. We honestly start off with a good hand. Golden Bell, Sneak Attack, both really strong cards here. Really good for the early game. Especially against current Portal decks, which seem to mostly float Portal. Which I do plan on messing around with, so do keep an eye out for that deck in the future. It's just something I'm trying to get the cards together for, or finding a variant that's more low budget. So, Saintly Squeak's really good here. Since we already have 2 amulets on board, we get the extra. We can also throw out the Great Tree in the same turn. Gives us a lot of value, especially going into the next turn. We're going to be drawing an absolutely crazy amount of cards. So we get the +3 draw here now, which is great. Feather Sanctuary it is, and another Golden Bell, because I don't really have much else to play now. A couple extra damage, and we try and hopefully set up for what we can do next turn. Probably looking at something like Featherfolk and Alchemical, or just Alchemical in general, plus something else we can draw off it, since that is a really good draw card. But we do really need to hit this board hard. That's where it's going to be important. And it's going to be hard to remove this no matter what we do, since I don't really have any way to actually get rid of it. Luckily though, double Featherfolk and a free Great Tree, we do have at least some potential, although I did decide to take the draw, which probably was the wrong choice, but I was trying to get Hollow down as well, so it was really a toss-up. Plus I really wanted the proc for the Viridian Magna, so it was really up in the air on where I should have went with that play, but just awkward all around. We're very close to losing this game now, but hopefully we can make a nice comeback. I mean, Viridian can take out some of the biggest threats here, which is quite good, and we can use our 3-4 to take out the 2-3 really nicely. So it does just leave us with the couple of artifacts to deal with. And that's really not a big problem. So once we can hopefully get past these couple of cards, we should be hopefully in the clear for the most part. We do have another Viridian Magna we could use, which would be a good option. Although we did end up getting Muse Princess, so why not? We did burn a few, but if we get enough value out of this, we should be fine. Especially with Hollow Wing here. It's just some extra value we can get now. Plus we get the Muse, so that's nice too. If I even go for the Evo, we can take out the 2-2 and not even have to worry about it, and we can send the rest of our damage to face. Which definitely puts us in the lead a little bit. As far as our board state goes. Purifying Light, not really a problem. Removing effects is not great for us, but also not the end of the world. And these puppets are a little bit of a nuisance. Luckily they're not Storm yet though. And Awakened Ragnar, again, not another problem card, so we should be fine. It's really just a matter of taking out this board, and we end up getting another Muse Princess, so we took advantage of it and used it this time getting 2 procs, which we set up really nicely with the Great Tree play. That'll let us ping off the follower and get the damage to face. Plus the extra draws aren't hurting us at this point. So we can go for as much damage as we can, leave them with just 10 health and another good board for us. Of course we do have to deal with these puppet shocks, which are a bit of an annoyance, but they have wasted most of their cards for this turn that they can use. With only 2 play points left, there isn't a lot of options Portal should have. Phantom Blade Wielder isn't a bad one, but it's also not a good one. We get a decent chance at Featherfolk and another Muse Princess. Muse Princess coming in clutch 3 in a row. Really, really helped us out. It allows us to really easily take this. I mean, we've got so much good damage here. We dealt 7 for this turn alone. Leaving them with just 3 health and a Shiva coming up for next turn could be really nice. Shiva, although, won't actually win us the game, since it only affects on 7 and we just had a complete board wipe, so Viridian Magna is looking to be our best line of play here. Maybe even try and go for a heal with the Virtuous Aethers, so we can stay out of range. If we can get the Virtuous Aether heal here, we should be okay. So I decided to go for the Great Tree, get another Virtuous Aether, decide to go for both of those instead of going for the Great Tree plays here. Mainly for that extra health. And Purifying Light, again, not really a problem. And since they're not going to get us down from 18 unless they heal up out of range of Shiva, we can just win the game by slamming that and ending turn. Since that will straight up win the game. So even that ward won't be a problem. Slam Shiva. At the end of the 11th turn, get 4 damage to the enemy leader and win the game. Can't really go too wrong with that at all. So while definitely not the best current HavenCraft deck that I have played, I definitely still prefer the ward decks at the moment as far as that goes, as I do feel they're a bit more reliable. This is still doing fairly well, and incorporating some of these cards aren't too bad. Maybe I'd consider adding another one of this in here, but honestly 1 seems to be a nice number, and everything else is numbered out pretty well, and does perform quite nicely. You will have some tough matchups, of course. Dragon I've found to be tough, and that seems to be popping out more often, so that's a tricky one. Shadow is pretty equal, and then it's Rune where you get a little bit of an advantage with this deck sometimes, and of course Portal can be a back and forward kind of game, as you saw. So if you guys did enjoy this video and want to check out more, you'll find a link to this deck in the description below. Be sure to like button, subscribe for more content. Until next time, guys, see ya.